Abraham Lincoln delivered his second inaugural address on March 4, 1865, during his inauguration at the start of his second term as President of the United States. At the time, her victory over the secessionists in the American Civil War, 美国南北战争, was within days, and slavery was near an end. Lincoln did not speak of happiness, but of sadness. Some see this speech as a defense of his pragmatic approach to Reconstruction, in which he sought to avoid harsh treatment of the defeated South, by reminding his listeners of how wrong both sides had been in imagining what they before them when the war began 4 years earlier. Lincoln balanced that rejection of triumphalism, however, with recognition of the unmistakable evil of slavery, which he described in the most concrete terms possible. Now, let's start the speech. Fellow country people, at this second appearing to take the oath of the presidential office, there are fewer occasions for an extended address than there was at the first. Then a statement, somewhat in detail, of a course to be pursued seemed fitting and proper. Now, at the expiration of 4 years, during which public declarations have been constantly called forth on every point and phase of the great contest, which still absorbs the attention and engrosses the energies of the nation, little that is new could be presented. The progress of our arms, upon which all else chiefly depends, is as well known to the public as to myself, and it is, I trust, reasonably satisfactory and encouraging to all. With high hope for the future, no prediction in regard to its venture. On the occasion corresponding to these 4 years ago, all thoughts were anxiously directed to an impending civil war. All dreaded it. All sought to avert it. While the inaugural address was being delivered from this place, devoted altogether to saving the Union without war, insurgent agents were in the city seeking to destroy it without war, seeking to dissolve the Union and divide effects not by war, by negotiation. Both parties deprecated war, but one of them would rather make war rather than that the nation survive, and the other would accept war rather than that it perish. And the war came. 1/8 of the whole population were colored slaves, and not distributed generally over the Union, but localized in the southern part of it. These slaves constituted a peculiar and powerful interest. All knew that this interest was, somehow, the cause of war. To strengthen, perpetuate, and extend this interest was the object for which the insurgents would rend the Union, even by war. While the government claimed no right to do more than to restrict the territorial enlargement of it. Neither party expected for the war the magnitude or the duration, which it has already attained. Neither anticipated that the cause of the conflict might cease with, or even before, the conflict itself shall cease. Each looked for an easier triumph and a result that's fundamental and astounding. Both read the same Bible and prayed to the same God, and each invokes his aid against the other. It may seem strange that any people should dare to ask a just God's assistance in bringing their bread from the sweat of others people's faces. But let us judge not, we be not judged. The prayers of both could not be answered. That of neither could be answered fully. The Almighty has his own purposes. A curse is on the earth because of trouble, for it is necessary for trouble to come. But unhappy is that people through whom the trouble comes. If we suppose American slavery is one of the most offensive things which in the providence of God has come, but which, having continued through his appointed time, he now wills to remove, and that he gives to both north and south this terrible war. As the curse due to those by whom the offense came, shall we discern therein any departure from those divine attributes which the believers in the living God always ascribe to him? Fondly do we hope, fervently do we pray, that this mighty surge of war may speedily pass away. Yet, if God wills that it continue until all the wealth held by the bonds peoples 250 years of unrequited toil should be sunk, and until every drop of blood drawn with a dash shall be paid by another drawn with a sword, as was said 3,000 years ago, so still is not be said. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteously altogether. With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right. Let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for them who should have borne the battle, and for their families, to do all which may achieve and cherish a just, lasting peace among ourselves and with all nations. Lincoln used the opening to establish his relationship with the audience. In the body, he emphasized that slavery caused the war, and that the North and South both believed they were right. The body closed with the ideas that God has his own purpose for the war. In the conclusion, Lincoln reiterated his desire to end the war. Who likes war? Please raise your hand. Who hates war? Please raise your hand. Yes, everyone hates war. Many of the sentences in the speech were slow, yet they were well constructed and were read with a proper written, and inflections were understandable. That's why I like the speech. And I modified some of the parts in the speech, like the bondman. I changed it to bond people, because in nowadays we have to be politically correct. Every man and woman are created equal. So I would like to present this speech to all of you, and hope you can also like it. Toastmaster of the evening.